Hey, you too. How's that? All right, so Pokemon theme song. All right, sorry, I had to do that. I think I might just incorporate that as like my theme song to go with on my video vlogs because today I actually had some lessons that I learned from others and I taught myself, and I want to share that with you as I create this sort of bridge intro into my video vlog. Yeah, I don't know why, but this morning I just woke up after my cup of coffee. I decided to test myself on geography. It was never my strong subject in high school, but I did try. And I wanted to see how many states I could write down just by memory out of 50. But I think there's actually 52. But anyway, out of 50, I did really good. I got an A. I got 47 out of 50, which is an A. And on the capitals, I didn't do that great. I only got 16 out of 50, which as a teacher, I'd give that a D minus. So I got an A on the states, 47 out of 50. I got a D minus on the capitals, only 16 out of 50. And on the abbreviations, I got an A plus, 100%. I know how to abbreviate all of them. I learned some things, though, while I was testing myself, of course, and I want to learn the capitals that I didn't know. What I learned was back in high school when I learned the capitals, I was pretty sure that Scranton was the capital of Pennsylvania at one point. But now, according to Google, Harrisburg is the capital of Pennsylvania. Maybe that changed at some point and I missed it. The other ones that I didn't know, I remembered once I looked it up, and like Little Rock, Arkansas. I totally forgot Little Rock was the capital of Arkansas, but once I saw that it was Little Rock, I said, "Oh yeah, I remember that." You know. But anyway, Harrisburg. I don't remember Harrisburg being the capital of Pennsylvania, but I thought it was Scranton. But anyway, maybe it is Harrisburg now. I made a video previous to this about Gandy Beach. Now, if somebody had been in St. Pete 20 years ago, and they were talking about Gandy Beach, they would have maybe in their mind a totally different Gandy Beach. So if they go to Gandy Beach now in St. Petersburg after 20 years, there will be like, this is Gandy Beach because it's totally changed. When I wrote an article about the changes that were occurring at Gandy Beach, I was afraid. I was scared that the changes were going to sort of ruin a piece of St. Pete's culture. But actually, I was wrong. Actually, the changes, I've gone back. Last month, I went for a ride, and actually, the changes are great. They are actually really good. They have improved Gandy Beach. So I was wrong, and the changes were right. So maybe it's good that Harrisburg is now the capital of Pennsylvania. Maybe the changes are good there too. How should I know? I've never been to Scranton or Harrisburg. All right. Well, anyway, the reason I'm mentioning this is that change is not always a bad thing. And sometimes we're scared of it, but sometimes it's actually a really good thing. So I have some radical thoughts, and you can do what you will with this. I mean, I want to talk about the Cassandra effect, the Cassandra syndrome. Cassandra was known as, this was mentioned in movies and in history books, as this woman, sort of like a, kind of like a, not exactly like a Joan of Arc, but she had visions like Joseph. She tried to warn people of things like a Nostradamus type, and sometimes she was absolutely correct, but people didn't want to hear it. They were frightened of her, or they thought she was a lunatic. And this happens to a lot of people who analyze a lot. Maybe they don't have visions, or maybe they're not getting an absolute, message like the burning bush from Moses, but they might be doing a lot of analyzing of the history and the current trends and events of the times, and come to a certain conclusion. But when they try to present those conclusions, people don't want to hear that. Like, sort of like how an animal goes on an endangered species list. Like, oh, well, this animal is endangered. We should do something to protect that animal. And somebody's like, I don't care, or they don't want to hear it because, oh no, no, they're not. Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But if they are, we don't want to ignore that, because that's part of the ecosystem, and each piece of the ecosystem is linked together. We do not want a domino effect. So when you get a warning of any type, or some advice of any type, I think it's good to pay attention to it, whether you can do something about it or not. It's good to pay attention to it just in case you can do something to help. And so here are my radical thoughts for the future based on my analysis of what some people are saying in other videos in regards to problems that we're having all around the country, in small towns, in big cities, in different nations. These are just typical problems that happen to humanity and civilization. But as an American, I am trying to specifically point this at the Americans who have power today, if they can do anything about these things. Here are some radical thoughts about what you could do, and maybe what I would do if I had the power. Reduce minimum wage is my first piece of advice. Reduce minimum wage. And I know that sounds radical. Well, we just fought to get it increased. Yeah, and I was against that. I was against that. I was against them saying that teachers needed to get more money. I was against that. I was the only one in my class who said teachers should not get paid more. There was a point where I thought teachers should get paid more when I was teaching. I thought maybe they should get paid more because, oh my God, we work our butts off. But now I'm going back to no, teachers should not get paid more. No, minimum wage should not have been increased. In fact, we should decrease it. And you're going to be like, but we can't afford it now. How can we, we're never going to afford it based on the wage. Forget the frickin' wage. I tried to tell you this 5 years ago. I tried to tell you this 10 years ago. Decrease the rent, not increase the wage. That just causes more problems. I know it's radical, but you keep seeing it over and over and over again. Ma che testa dura. Stop being so stubborn. Decrease the rent. I don't care if you want to call me a fucking communist. I'm not a fucking communist. I'm a fucking economic person. I'm an economist, not a communist. And it works for the economy to have caps on rent. Caps on rent. Okay? You cannot expect anybody to fucking make it when the minimum wage doesn't even cover the fucking rent. And then all you get is more people and more people screaming about, we need to get paid more. No, you need to find a fucking rent that's a fucking affordable. And how does that happen? Not with minimum wage increases, with rent caps. The only way anybody's budget is going to work is if there's a 25% income capped on rent. Stop the insanity. All right. Now that I've gotten that passion out, I know I said don't mix politics and passion, but I get very angry about that because I've been homeless and I've helped homeless people, and I give a shit about that. I've been giving a shit about that for 20, 30 fucking years, and I'm tired of it. All right, moving on to my next radical idea. Destroy probation. Yes, we have criminals, we have misdemeanors, we have felons, we have people who fuck up. As a Christian, I know I fucked up too. I was a trespasser. I got in trouble for other shit. I fucked up a few times. But you know what's even more fucked up than the fuck up? Probation. I hate probation. Probation, the fucking lawyers even said it in the fucking courtroom. They said, oh, well, it's just designed for you to fail. What the fuck? You're creating a probation hoping that this person that you just released who has served some time for their fuck up so that they'll fail and end up back in jail? That's what you want? You don't want them to be rehabilitated? You don't want them to feel remorse for what they did and try to do better? You want to make it so fucking hard on them when the world's already fucking hard enough so that they come waltzing back to jail and go, "Hey, I'm home. It's glad to be here. I'm a fuck up. Woohoo." No. Wrong. Bad answer. Destroy probation. You do your time. If you're released, you're free, you're safe, you're innocent again, you're a citizen again, you're done. No more pitfalls and games and wicked schemes to fuck somebody up just because you let them go with time served. No more probation. Another problem is the DUI. Remember SAD and MAD? Students against drunk drivers, mothers against drunk drivers, DUI. Do I agree with it? Yes. I don't think people should drive drunk. But it's a complicated thing because one person can have 2 beers and not be drunk. Another person can have half a beer and be drunk. This is why it's such a complicated issue. So, since it's a complicated issue, it needs a complicated response. You cannot symbolize it. You cannot just go, well, I pulled you over just to be an asshole. Now I'm going to give you a breathalyzer. Oh, look, you had 3 beers. I'm giving you a DUI, even though the person did nothing wrong. They didn't get in an accident. They didn't swerve off the road. They didn't break any law of driving. But you want to take this person's license away and call them a drunk driver, even though that particular person wasn't drunk. That's not fair. That's not fair. And when something in the law is not fair to each individual, then it's not safe. And the law is meant to protect people, which is why we have DUIs. We don't want that kind of drunk behind the wheel. Okay? But you have to match the crime to the criminal. Somebody who had 3 beers and isn't really drunk and isn't doing anything wrong on the road is not the one you're after. Who are you after? The one who had whatever amount of alcohol and is swerving all over the fucking road, is cutting people off, is running through fucking red lights like a fucking lunatic, is causing so much havoc on the road that everybody's shitting their pants. That's the one you're after. That's the motherfucker you give a DUI. Not just somebody who went and had a couple drinks at the bar and knows how to get home safely. Stop picking on the good people and get the right motherfuckers. Is it radical? Am I radical today? Maybe I am. And maybe crazy and radical is the truth that you need to fix our fucked up place.